right. Good evening. Good evening. And good evening to those that didn't hear me the first two times. I'm saying Wednesday. It is Wednesday. I don't know. Don't ask me what day, because I don't know. I know it's Wednesday, but I don't know what the day is. That's what happens when your days start to run together and you can't keep up. But anyway, let me just say welcome. I'm your host, Brian Forbes. This, ladies and gentlemen, is The Black Factor. Don't forget to hit those subscribe buttons on YouTube, y'all. Don't forget to like on Facebook. Don't forget to join me on Twitch, Twitter, and any other platform that I am streaming to, which there are plenty. So you can always reach out and touch a brother. My Also Smooth Radio family, thank you for checking in. Shouts out to my man DJ Shorty Smooth in the building, and all of those from the Also Smooth Radio family. And don't forget, you guys, you can download that app on iTunes and on the Play Store. Yeah, that's it, Play Store. Yeah, so you can get that Also Smooth Radio app, and you can always kick it with us. What do they call it? Audibly and not visually. So I had to think of the right word. Y'all know I be messing up my words sometimes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is going to be a very interesting show, only because we're simply going to have a conversation. That's what we're going to do tonight. But you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about those people who surround us every single day. And I guarantee you'll recognize some of the people that I'm going to talk about tonight. And I don't even have to name names. Val Wells, I see you. Thank you for checking in. Oh, Val, I can count on Val to show up and hang out with me. That's a good thing. Chris Cheney is in the building. So look at here, y'all. We're going to get this party started. And we're going to have maybe some fun. I might step on some toes. I might hurt some feelings. But the fact is, one thing I won't be doing is telling no lies. Y'all know how I roll. Melvin Fuller is in the building. Thank you for stopping in. Y'all, let's get this party started. All right, y'all, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was, sometimes I go through these periods where I feel like sometimes the people that surround me and us, because this applies to all of us. Sometimes I feel like, we work really hard to maintain our relationships with our friends, with our acquaintances, and the like. Malika Davis is in the building. Thank you for stopping through. Tiffany Smith, I see you. Hey, we go through a lot of changes sometimes to maintain our friendships. My contention is that people are people, and we are all flawed to some degree. And when you're making friends and you have friendships, the fact is that, in the same as in any love relationship where there's intimacy, we have to work hard to work around and with the people that are supposed to be our friends. All relationships suffer difficulties of some kind. And so then it begins to make you wonder where people are really in your life. Life is a food chain. And I think the question becomes, where on that food chain do you actually belong? Where on the food chain of your friendships do you actually sit? I mean, that probably sounds kind of crazy, but I'm going to put friendships in some perspective today. I'm going to put relationships into perspective today. And I'm not just talking about love relationships. I'm talking about friendships and things of that nature. Because, people, sometimes we say they let us down, but in fact, we only let ourselves down. Before I do that, though, I ran across this poem some time ago, actually. And I want to read this thing because it applies to the very first part of what we're going to talk about today. And some of you may have heard this before and some of you may not, but we're going to read it. It is somewhat long, however, it is very important. And you must stick with me all the way through to the end, otherwise it's pointless. So, here we go. It is called The Black Prayer. Why did you make me black, Lord? Lord, why did you make me black? Why did you make someone the world would hold back? Black is the color of dirty clothes, of grimy hands and feet. Black is the color of darkness, of tired beaten streets. Why did you give me thick lips, a broad nose and kinky hair? Why did you create someone who receives the hated stare? Black is the color of the bruised eye when someone gets hurt. Black is the color of darkness. Black is the color of dirt. Why is my bone structure so thick? My hips and cheeks so high? Why are my eyes brown and not the color of the sky? Why do people think I'm useless? How come I feel so used? Why do people see my skin and think I should be abused? Lord, I just don't understand. What is it about my skin? Why is it some people want to hate me and not know the person within? Black is what people are labeled when others want to keep them away. Black is the color of shadows cast. Black is the end of the day. Lord, you know my own people, they mistrust me. And you know this just ain't right. They don't like my hair, they don't like my skin, and they say I'm too dark or too light. Lord, don't you think it's time to make a change? Why don't you redo creation and make everyone the same? And God's reply to that is it goes forward as such. Why did I make you black? Why did I make you black? I made you in the color of coal, from which beautiful diamonds are formed. I made you in the color of oil, the black gold, which keeps people warm. Your color is the same as the rich, dark soil that grows the food you need. Your color is the same as the black stallion and panther. Oh, what majestic creatures indeed. All colors of the heavenly rainbow can be found throughout every nation. When all these colors are blended, you become my greatest creation. Your hair is the texture of lamb's wool. Such a beautiful creature is he. I am the shepherd who watches them. I will always watch over thee. You are the color of midnight sky. I put star glitter in your eyes. There's a beautiful smile hidden behind your pain. That's why your cheeks are so high. You are the color of dark clouds. From the hurricanes I create in September. I made your lips so full and thick, so when you kiss, they will remember. Your stature is strong, your bone structure thick, to withstand the burden of time. The reflection you see in the mirror, that image that looks back, that is mine. So get off your knees, look in the mirror, and tell me what you see. I don't make you in the image of darkness. I made you in the image of me. I thought that was a very interesting poem, and I found that some years ago. I looked up the author of it, and I apologize I don't have it in front of me because I kind of decided to do this sort of at the last minute. But you guys, here it is. You know, I watch people. I'm observant. Now, I'm no psychologist, or should I say no psychology expert. However, some things about this life and the people around us are very obvious. And so we must be diligent and mindful and try as hard as we can to pay attention to those that we call friends. Okay. Now, the very first part of this has to do with people being themselves and being who they are. And like that prayer, you have people who do not believe in their own greatness simply because they think that someone else or something else is greater. That's an unfortunate position to take as an individual person. Everyone has gifts. Everyone has what they should be giving to the world, and most of all to themselves. You have to be the best you that you can be. No one else. You got to remember something. The number one greatest thing that you can offer the world is to master self, is to be the person that you are, because nobody, and I mean nobody, can do that better than you. How many people do we see trying to be like someone else? You know, it trips me out sometimes when I watch some of these impersonators and people who spend their life identifying with someone who the world considers to be great. Do we really need to be someone else in order to realize our own greatness? No, I think just the opposite. I know of people who literally walk around in impersonation type garments and image type impersonators. And you wonder to yourself, who are you? You know, when you look at that person, you say, who are you? Where is do you realize that you yourself might just be better than the person you're impersonating, but you spend so much time impersonating somebody else that you'll never know. Why not take out the time, since you like what these people do so much that you must impersonate them, why not take out the time to be the best you could be, and maybe doing some of the things that they do and become better than the person you're impersonating? Why not? There are people literally who walk around here every day that have friends, circles, or what. And I use that term loosely, y'all. Don't get it twisted. You know, friendship or being called a friend, I don't think people take enough stock in what that really means and the value in what that is. I think people use that term far too often, and with often the wrong people. Greatness is something that comes with time. And I think some people give up on themselves to try to be like someone else. Some people call that low self-esteem, I guess. They call it, a person who, just they don't want to do the work. I actually know people who've gone through their whole lives being shysters. And when I say being a shyster, I mean, you got people who will do everything in their power to get around something. They'll find an angle. They'll work a program, but they won't do the work. And they spend so much time working the process that if they had just taken the time to do the work for themselves, guess what? You wouldn't have to work the angles. You'd be where you want to be instead of trying to skip the line. That's a failure. That's a failure at no matter how you slice that. Marion Goldman has responded. She says, my mama told me you're lucky if you get 3 in your lifetime. Absolutely, Marion. And that also applies, and when we talk about love relationships, think about it. You'll hear most guys say you're lucky, if you get one true love in your life. And I think friends are very much the same. You're lucky if you get that one person who actually does care about you to the degree that they are not going to let you slip. They got your back, and they will actually do for you and tell you when you out of pocket. You don't have a lot of those. Melvin Fuller says everyone has their own genius, but we just have to tap into it. Be the best we can be within ourselves. Absolutely correct, Melvin. And that's the thing. That's true, But what's great to one person is not necessarily great to someone else. They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. So then we have to be careful about how we view the world and the people around us. Thing is, all of us, I don't care who you are, if you're doing anything in your life, you actually do have haters in your camp, whether you believe that or not, whether you want to believe it or not. Because the funny thing is, sometimes we don't want to believe certain things. We don't want to believe them because, and I'm gonna tell you why. And this is something that came up in a topic yesterday with something else I had going on. We don't want to believe that the people we choose to like in our lives, be they lovers or friends, we don't want to believe that we're that bad a judge of character. And therefore we hold on to these people who don't mean us any good because we don't want to believe that they are not the people that we wish them to be. You got to let people be who they are. Whether you like it or not, everybody is going to be something be it good, bad, or somewhere in the middle. You're going to have liars in your camp. You're going to have people around you that'll just as soon tell a lie than to tell the truth, and for no reason whatsoever. Just lie. I know people like this. I try to avoid them. Sometimes you can't. But it is what it is. But as long as you recognize that these people are liars, you know where to place them in your circle. Because now don't get it twisted. I want you to understand something. All of us have liars, thieves, and cheats in our circles. But you don't have to cut them off. You just got to know what position to play them in. See, you got to remember you're the coach of your own life. And what does a coach do? He puts his most capable players in the positions that they play the best. So if you know a person, let's say you know a person that got a big ass mouth, and all they do is, you tell them something, look, don't tell nobody else. And they run straight out and tell them, well, you know who you know, if you want something to get out, you know who to tell. You don't kick them out the camp. You just be like, yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. Don't tell nobody, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you knew you wanted it to get out. And guess what? It got out because they can't hold water. You know who they are. Everybody got one of those in their camp. Period. You use them. I know that sounds crazy, but everybody uses everybody for something. You got somebody in your camp that you know has low moral turpitude and will do some things that others won't. Well, guess what? Sometimes you have to put them in that position and let them run and let them do what they do. I know that sounds manipulative, but let's face it. The people who come around us who don't have good intentions, I'm trying to manipulate anyway. I don't like to play games with people. I'm pretty transparent. For those of you who know me on here personally, you all know that I'm a very transparent person. And most of the things, no, everything that I say, if you heard it come out of my mouth, whether it was something that I said in regard to what somebody else did or did to me or anything like that, if I said it out loud, I'll say it to their faces. Because you do have people who are, they say a lot of things, but they will nut up the minute they get in front of you. And that's fine too, because guess what? That's just how they get down. But you got to know where to place them on the playing field. You got them all around you. Okay, you got and the thing is this. I didn't mention thieves, right? And I didn't mention thieves because when I say thief, I want to break this down. When I say thief, you might be thinking I'm talking about somebody who steals stuff. But when I say a thief, I'm talking about the thieves in your life. These are the ones who will steal your time. They'll steal your energy. And they'll pickpocket you for your space if you ain't careful. Okay? Just know you got to put these people where they belong in your life. You got to remember that how important it is to be about the business of doing you. Now, here's what I mean when I say do you. I mean, do what your heart, your mind, your soul, your gut tells you to do. Don't look at what somebody else does. Don't make the mistake of thinking that if this person does this, then I can do that, or whatever the case may be. But the most important and the biggest issue is this one right here. You got people, let's say you came up with an idea and you got this thing, oh man, I really want to do this. But you got these people around you who are saying, oh, you can't do that. And you say, well, why not? And then they'll make 10,000 excuses about why you, not them, you can't do something that you want to do. Not that it's going to require their help, their money, their energy, nothing. Something you want to do, but oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, I came up with a rule many years ago after I was told about something that I couldn't do. And I was actually one of the first people to do this thing. I ain't gonna get into all of that. But the guy was like, man, you can't do that. That's technically that's not possible. Oh, really? Well, after I finished it, he said, Wow, I don't know how you pulled that off. Well, no, you don't, because your vision is not my vision. And this is what we got to remember. Our vision is not someone else's vision. You have to stick to what you believe. But then I learned something. After I gave it a lot of thought, I realized, guess what? How does a person who hasn't done anything or done what you're doing tell you that you can't do it? I want you to think about where the "you can't do it's" come from. It doesn't come from people who've actually done it and can give you the ins and outs about how to do it, or have done it and may have, not completely succeeded. It's always the people who've never done a damn thing. They're going to tell you what you can't do. So you know what I started doing? I said, well, I can't do it, huh? Okay, well, do this. Tell me what you did wrong when you did this, so I'll know what mistakes not to make. Now, either one or two things is going to happen. They either going to actually give you the information because they have tried it and they're going to help you to get through it, or to help you to give you the ins and outs about why it may not work because they've actually done it, or they're going to shut up because they haven't done it and there's nothing they can offer to get you where you're trying to get to in your goal. They can't do it. Think about it. We do it to our own children. We raise children, and because they're so young or so small, we say, oh, you can't do that. See, this is where it all begins, y'all. Yeah. I don't want to step on no toes now, am I? Stepping on no toes. This is where it all begins. We take our own children as babies, and we begin to project our own fears and inadequacies on our children at an early age. And we talk about, oh, you can't do that. You can't, baby. You'll never be able to do that. If the people who have been successful in this life, and the people who have created and built the things around us and invented the things that we use every day, if they listened to the detractors and the individuals who told them what they couldn't do you realize how bland our lives would be right now? There are things that we have yet to conceive that are in the minds of individuals that could easily be damaged by someone who says you can't do that. Don't you be the one to tell somebody what they can't do if you don't know what you're talking about. Sometimes people have a tendency to fail their way to success because, like the old saying goes, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you get up. See, that's the getting up part that you got to be about. You got to give yourself an opportunity to get up. I get really annoyed when people start talking about what somebody can't do. Don't let other people talk you down off your dreams, your goals, your ideas, and your thoughts of positivity or success, because they will if you let them. You do know that. You should know that. That is, can be, or will be a life-altering mistake. You might just miss your train by letting somebody stand on the platform and tell you there's no train coming. Because again, like I said, success, the things that we want in life, sometimes they take time to come. Just because it's not happening today doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You got to give yourself an opportunity all the way to the time you take your last breath. And we don't know when that is. So that means you got to live every day to the fullest. And I ain't going to lie, there's some hypocrisy in my words right now because I don't exercise that particular idea the way that I should. See, it's not about the year you were born and the year you die. It's the dash in the middle. That's your life right there. The dash in between the year you were born and the year you died. When they look at your obituary, that dash, how you plan to fill that space right there? That dash is real short in between them two numbers if you think about it. And it just give you some perspective on life being short. That dash is your life, what you plan to do with it. Don't make the mistake of letting somebody else tell you what you can't do. Now, I'm saying this because I'm an entrepreneur, because I've been able to tackle most of the things that I've wanted to do in life. I have been successful at the things that I wanted to accomplish. But the funny thing is this: I actually had to come to that revelation. I had to learn that I'm actually capable and I'm worthy. Why? Because my life, like many people, had been surrounded with others who told me what I couldn't do, who hadn't done a damn thing themselves. So I'm telling you, be careful about the people in your circle, because I believe it was there's a motivational speaker, Les Brown, that's his name, Les Brown, who once made a statement, and he said, "Show me your closest friends and I'll show you your life." So in other words, and that applies to the birds of a feather flock together mentality. So if you're at the top of the food chain in your own circle, right, and you got it going on, and all of your friends hang around you because you got it going on, are these really your friends? Or are these people that are looking to come up off of you? You know, people want to get put on. You know, I remember back in the day, you know, you would go to what they used to call network parties. And especially in Atlanta, when I lived in Atlanta, everybody was having network parties. But you know what? After I went to a couple of network parties, you know what I realized? Nobody in this network party is doing a damn thing. Everybody that come to the network party is looking to hook up with somebody else to get put on, or to, you know, it's very little collaborations that come out of that. And then you think about it. Network party, network event, network. Okay, are we really building a network here? And then you find out that 90% of the people at the network party have nothing to offer. Y'all know one time, my wife went out. She was trying to find me a publicist. And we got a hold of this publicist who networked and, you know, told us how great they were. Okay, great. Well, by the time I got to to the person, they literally had less knowledge of what I was doing than I did. But you called yourself a publicist. See, I'm real funny about people calling themselves stuff that they're not. If ain't nobody cutting you a check, don't call yourself that. Let me just go there. But then there's levels to this. There's levels to everything. Levels to these friendships. So, don't let somebody else stop you from getting where you're supposed to be. Now, here's another thing. There are times in this life where we make this mistake. And I just got through saying the people in your circle. You got to look at the people in your circle and ask yourself, are these people, are they growing you? Are they making you better? Are they making you smarter, stronger, faster? Does the friendship benefit you? Does the friendship make you a better person? Now, sadly, somebody has to sit at the top of those circles, and everybody else is using that person like sometimes succubus. They are draining your energy to become better themselves. That has its good points and its bad points. Only because there's nothing wrong with helping people to be better, but people got to want it. I have a friend here in San Antonio, one of the Black Factor family, in fact, who once told me that she appreciated the conversations that her and my wife and myself would have and the things that she learned. And she did tell us, though, that had she met us 2 years earlier, she would not have been able to receive the information that we were capable of providing to her. And she was happy that the time and timing of our meeting was when it was, because she had opened herself up to changing her circle and moving into arenas that were going to benefit her with the people around her. And I don't have a problem with that, because she is a beast. I mean, she's going at it, man. She's going hard at what she does. And I'm happy for her. And I'm happy that our friendship is a respectful one, and that we, and I mean uber respectful. And that's what I love about it, because she understands what being a friend, a colleague, and just a person in my circle it's supposed to be. And she does look at us like mentors. And in fact, we all need mentors and people around us that we can trust. Y'all want an example of what it's like to have a friend or have people around you that you can't trust? Just look at the way some people dress when they leave home. You ask yourself, do you have any friends? Seriously. But you got to remember this. Don't ever lower yourself to accommodate the feelings of people and what they think about you. That's a mistake a lot of people make in their own circle. That's a mistake a lot of people make in their relationships. There's a friend of mine, and she sometimes comes on this show. She went through a thing this week, and I feel bad for her. She was dating someone who literally cleaned her out. I mean, just from stem to stern, cleaned her out. The thing is this. She lowered herself. Now, I don't know if she'd be willing to admit it or not. But here's the deal. After the fact, she said he didn't have a job. He didn't take care of his kids. She was taking care of his kids and basically taking care of him. And she's got a child of her own, which means now she's got 2 children. But the deal is, she lowered herself. For whatever her own reasons were, in order to accommodate somebody else. When we lower ourselves to accommodate others, we are damaging our own success, our own minds, our own hearts, our own bodies, actually. Because if a person cares so little about you, I mean, what are you really setting yourself up for? There's a lot of failure in there. There are people who would have moved on to bigger and better things in life if they didn't have that one person pulling on their coat. Now, I'm not going to say crabs in a barrel mentality, because I don't believe crabs belong in a barrel. And I know sometimes people do what they have to do. And some people don't know what to do. And all that has to do with grooming, and has to do with when you're coming up in the world. Because, you got people whose parents didn't teach them a damn thing. They don't know anything. Now, we criticize them and we point fingers at them. But the fact is, they don't know how to do any better. Now, if they're willing to receive the information, that's one thing. But if they're one of those people who's dead wrong all the time and you can't never tell them anything, you need to avoid them like COVID. They need to stay over there. You understand? But sometimes we still keep them in our circle and they end up hurting us. If it ain't right now, the time is coming. Don't ever apologize. And this is something I had to tell my own children. Don't ever apologize for who you are. My daughter, I'm so proud of the fact that I have a child who understands who she is, where she came from, and the way she was brought up. She literally told me one day that somebody was so basically trying to bully her by saying, well, you had both of your parents and y'all did this and y'all did that. And my daughter said, well, I'm not going to apologize because my parents did the right thing and they understood what bringing a child into the world was and taking care of a family. I'm not going to apologize for that. So sometimes we get to a place in this life where we feel like we should mellow ourselves out, bring ourselves down to accommodate others. No. Be who you are. This goes back to the beginning. Do you. Be the best you could be. If a person around you can't handle that, they don't belong around you. It's as simple as that. They just don't. If somebody is trying to make you or wants you to make yourself small just so they can die, you want to know what I say? Let them choke. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to make myself small or do something different so that somebody who has less self-esteem than me can feel better. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not no bully, and I'm not one of those people that is going to, because I have people around me who sometimes need stuff. And I try to help. I try to do my part. But what you're not going to do is use me. So, but all relationships are the same, whether it's a love relationship, intimate, or whether it's just a friendship. Doesn't matter. Man, woman, there's no gender bias, no race bias. But once you get to know people, and this is the funny thing. Now I want y'all to remember this. You know how you meet somebody, especially my single folks out there. You know how you meet a person and you think, oh, this is a really nice person. I like this person. Yeah, this is what's up. I like this. And when you get to know them after a while, and then they turn out to be something that you didn't think they would be. It's the same as starting to date somebody, and then after a couple of days you go, yeah, no, this ain't gonna work out. It's the same. It's very much the same. The honeymoon ends, and things they get weird. But that's just the way we're built as people, as human beings. And when we start, and again, when we talk about our friends and the people that are around us and the people that, we love and we care for, again, like I said earlier, that term gets used very, very loosely. This weekend, I was at an event and had a fantastic time, by the way. And there was this young lady who ran up on me and damn near molested me. But she was inebriated. But she went on about her friends and what kind of people they were and how they were treating her. And all I could think to myself was, why do you keep using the word friend? Why do you keep letting these people be the ones that you refer to as friends when you have so much venom and animosity toward them? And how did you end up here, of all places, with this group of people? It just made me start thinking about these, friends. So I'm guessing that, and then I was wondering too, because I know she was inebriated. Was it because she was inebriated? They say that that ignorant oil, that truth serum, you start drinking. I can't remember the quote about the tongue saying when you're drunk, you speak what you're thinking. You say what's on your mind. You say what you're really thinking. It just made me wonder. Because she'd been putting it in. So would she feel the same way if she was sober? And does that mean that the alcohol caused her to overlook the flaws in the people that she has in her circle? Was she ignoring the red flags the way we all seem to do when we have people around us? Make you wonder, don't it? Why do we call them friends? If they're causing you pain or harm or making you feel some kind of way, why do we call them friends? Thank you, April Robinson. She said, a drunk man speaks a sober man's mind. There you go. Now, that's it. Why do we call people who make us feel some kind of way friends? Maya Angelou. You won't remember what they said. You won't remember what they did, but you will remember how they made you feel. What is the purpose for any of us to have people around us that make us feel anything other than what we should be feeling, which is happy and positive and strong and prosperous and all of that? That's crazy. Then you have to ask yourself this. I something else came up. I can't get too personal, but something else came up. And there was a criticism made about some things over this weekend. And it made me wonder, because there was such a level of hypocrisy involved It made me wonder, where does a person's mind go when they think that they can point a finger at someone else, literally, while living in a glass house? That's a very, very, very dangerous position to take. You shouldn't throw rocks when you live in glass houses. But that's people. And these are people who feel confident enough around us, because we've made them feel that way, that they can say these things or do things that make us feel some kind of way. But then, we all got those ratchet friends. They ratchet. And we call them ratchet. And again, I'm using that term loosely, friends. We all ratchet. But guess what? You running with them. Don't that make you ratchet? It's very dangerous, as crazy as this is, to associate ourselves with certain people. If you know a person who don't nobody mess with, but you cool with them, because they ain't never did nothing to you, of course. But do you care about what everybody else is thinking? Dude, ratchet. So if he running with him or she running with her, he got to be ratchet too. I don't know. Just something to think about. That just popped into my head. Birds of a feather. What we say earlier, birds of a feather flock together. Show me your circle. I'll show you your future. Imagine that. You think about it. You get into a relationship with somebody, and then you end up seeing all the red flags, but you ignore it. You pass it by. I know another young lady who has a man. Well, let me rephrase that. She has a male that she is in love with, who by his actions means her no good. His words, though, keep her in place. And she has informed me that she has come to the conclusion that she's going to accept whatever position he takes. Doesn't matter. Quit her 4 times. And she just decided that she's okay with that. She'll be there when he gets back. As a friend, of course, I would advise against that behavior. But I'm not going to not like her anyway, because that's what she wants to do. I respect it. As a friend, when the time comes again and she's brokenhearted, and she will be, we have to be in place to help our friends. Now, I have to admit, I do get pissed off at people who don't listen. Don't ask me for advice if you ain't going to listen. Because you knew what you was going to do anyway. You knew that the way you feel will override logic. You knew that the love that you think, and see, then you got to remember this too. Love and the way people feel about other people sometimes ain't love. There are people who thrive in dysfunction. Ooh, these are my favorite ones. These are the ones who, if something bad is not happening, they not happy. They don't know what functional love and functional relationships look like. They've grown up in chaos. They were born into chaos. They have been nurtured on chaos. They ate it for breakfast. They get a good man in their life, get a good woman in their life, and screw it up. Why they screw it up? Because they don't know nothing else. Because they feel like if things are going too well, something got to be wrong. Things are going bad. Hey, look, y'all. I knew a woman one time told me if her man didn't slap her in the mouth when she crack out of turn, she didn't believe he loved her. But these are the people that are in all of our lives every single day. Do we get to pick and choose who we include in our circle? I believe we do, and I do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just, I have to be cautious. Now I'm gonna have to be even more cautious about those that are around me. Some of your biggest haters are some of your closest friends. There are people who are right underneath you, right beneath you, right by you, who mean you no good. And even sometimes they don't know it. Because think about it. How well do each and every one of us know ourselves? And if you don't know yourself that well and don't know how to deal with your own feelings, and a lot of people do not, you end up hating on people because you don't know how to do anything else, because of jealousy, because of other underlying issues. This is what we deal with every day. If you know who you are, and I'm saying it like this, people will say they know who they are, but let's be honest. If you be honest with yourself and you say, am I straight? Am I, a good person? Not that sugar-coated BS, not that, yeah, of course I am, because we all got our flaws. Can you be honest with yourself and say, I am a good person? And then can you turn around and let me get this straight. Good is not relative. You're either good or you're not. Ain't no in between, because you got people who will measure their goodness by the people around them. Like, you got a bunch of foul friends. It doesn't make you good because your friends are more foul than you are. See? But if you could be honest with yourself and say, okay, am I really a good person? Am I worthy of being somebody's friend? And then you say to yourself, will the person that you are referring to as a friend be willing to do what you are willing to do for them? Is there mutual respect, mutual love, mutual ability to assist, to pull your person up when they're down? Will they do that for you? I've heard people literally say, man, I appreciate everything y'all doing for me. I don't know if I would have done it. And that's honesty for you. But it's just their personality just not built that way. There's levels to this. Everybody is somewhere in the game. What part of the food chain you on depends on you and the people you have around you, the people you choose to be around you or that you allow to be around you. Because your closest friends can be your worst enemies. And they'll tell you, I'm your friend. I'm going to look out for you. I'm going to take care of you. We often place people on these pedestals that they simply do not belong on. And that is a fact. My book, y'all, The Black Factor. Don't forget to order y'all's copy of The Black Factor now. Okay? Black Factor on bmforbes.com. But an excerpt in this book, in the chapter that I call The Love Factor, on page 179, it says, we often give too much credit to those who don't really deserve it, which equals disappointment and resentment. This includes loved ones and family members. People can have the best intentions and mean well and still be wrong. It's always the people who are the closest to us that hurt us the most. And if they're close to us, it's because we let them be. It's because we put them on that pedestal. Did they earn that spot, though? They are the only ones we allow close enough for the things they say or do to matter enough where it may cause pain. Accept people for how great or flawed they really are and live a happy life. Never try to make anyone do things they can't or view them as something or someone they are not. Yet another mistake we make. People are usually only as good as their circumstances. People are usually only as good as their circumstances. So how many times have we had somebody around us that was in a tight spot and they did something unscrupulous to us, around us, because they needed to exercise their own idea of survival? See? That's why we got to be careful, y'all. We place people on pedestals they don't deserve to be on. They didn't earn the spot. Do we ever make people earn spots anymore? Think about it. Some women will do, some women and some guys will sit up there and, and they'll drag the relationships out, because they want this person to earn what they should be earning in a relationship. But when we talk about people that are around us in terms of friends and people we hang out with, do we make them earn the spot as a friend? Do we make them pay the dues of friendship in order to be called a friend? Or do we just, oh, that's my friend? And you ain't got to call them anything. How often do you hang around them? What do you hang around them for? What do you have in common? Do you have anything in common? Or is this a person, because you do have people who keep people around them that they feel are lesser or beneath them in order to make themselves feel bigger? Who does that? We know people who do that. But when they fall off these pedestals, who's to blame? When they fall down, and most likely they will, who do we blame? Who are we really mad at? Are we mad at them for not being who we thought they should be? Or should we be mad at ourselves for giving them a position that they never earned in our life? I think we should be mad at ourselves. It's our own fault for not properly vetting or making sure that the people that are around us earned the spot that we placed them in. So when they fall off, and that includes these women, these men in these relationships, and when I say relationships, I'm talking about intimate relationships. When that person falls off, you have to ask yourself, did you take the time to actually get to know the person? Were they properly vetted? Or did you just think, man, he's cute. Man, she got a fat ass. Or whatever the case may be. And you overlooked all the red flags. Because guess when the microscope comes out? The microscope comes out after they do something that bothers you, that hurts you, that brings you down. Then we bring the microscope out. Then all of a sudden you start reflecting back. I remember when that fool did this. Damn, you know what? I should have known then. You should have known, but you didn't because you allowed your emotions to get involved in the whole thing. And now you got another problem. They're only doing what they know. They're only acting the way they know how to act. If you didn't know that they acted that way, well, maybe we didn't give them enough time to be who they are. And sometimes, even after you give people time to be who they are, they don't show their true colors until adversity comes into play. And that goes back to exactly what I just said a minute ago. People are only as good as their circumstances. Now, this is people with low integrity most of the time, because even people who have integrity, when the circumstances change, they will still not burden a friend in a way that they know is going to be detrimental to the friendship. They will try to make it on their own, even though they may say, look, you know what, I got a problem right now. Because see, I like transparent people. Be 100 with me. If you ain't got no money, I don't give a damn how much money you got. I do okay for myself, my wife and I. I don't care what you got. If I like you, I like you. Just don't let me down. Don't disappoint me. And it ain't got nothing to do with money. Just be a good person. Be transparent and be honest. Straight up. Because that's how we roll. But I know people, and I've got some in my circle. Honesty is not a dish that they clearly know to serve. And then the thing is this. You know, sometimes things happen around us and we will then say, and this, I try so hard not to be judgmental, because I don't like judgmental people myself. But let's be honest. Recently, I had to tell somebody, because you may be a good person or you may feel as though you're a good person, it doesn't mean that the people around you are going to see the world through your eyes. You may believe that you do everything the right way. And sometimes people do things the wrong way and still think they do things the right way. But the fact is, what you would do in a given situation is not what they would do in a given situation. So if they don't do what you expect them to, thinking that that was the answer, you can't get mad at them. You know, you just have to let them sometimes fall on their ass. And sometimes they're right when they do what they do. and we're wrong. But we have to be able to acknowledge that. You know, there's how many, all right, check this out. How many times, y'all, have you met somebody or been around a friend, somebody that you cool with, and a situation comes up, and the first thing they do is talk about what they would have done, and they say, girl, I would never do that. Oh, man, I wouldn't put up with that. I wouldn't do this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's easy to say because you're not really in that situation. And it goes back to what I said earlier about nobody being able to do you better than you. Nobody being able to understand your circumstances better than you because you're in them. However, there is levels of common sense that don't exist. And there are levels of immaturity and other things that will cause a person to do the wrong thing and be caught up in a situation that they just didn't think could happen to them. Yes, this happens. But as a real friend, we have to still try to be there for these people if they're honest and transparent and are going to do the right thing. Because I know some people, they're just not going to do the right thing. You know, I appreciate my friend that I spoke about earlier being honest with me about her position with a man that I feel doesn't care about her. But she was honest enough to say, well, you know, whether he does or doesn't, I care about him, so I'm cool. My girl, go for it. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. I'm not going to get mad at her for being that way. Everybody handles things the way they think they should. But now, there's nothing worse than a self-serving, ego-driven, selfish person with no shame. And that being some of the people in our circles. You know, we got some people, their whole life revolves around not doing the right thing. Yeah, what are you going to do with them? Well, I don't know. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. My circle is small, and it's going to get smaller. I've put up with a lot from people that I don't particularly care for because they don't take no food off my table, and they don't, well, they ain't going to say they don't bother me. But I've also liked my peace. And peace of mind is a very, very important thing to me. And it's getting more important as the years go by. And I promise y'all, I'm not going to, I don't raise no hell. I used to be a hell raiser. I don't raise hell about it no more. And I don't expect people to see things my way. I just want to be the best me that I can be, which is what we just talked about. I want to be the best of who I am. I refuse to be around people who don't want to do right by me or others. I don't like unscrupulous individuals. And you know, there's some people who are actually married to unscrupulous individuals. And, you know, they're unhappy, but they stay in there. Right quick, y'all, let me take this quick pause for the calls. And I want to tell my Oh So Smooth Radio family, I appreciate you very much for tuning in tonight and hanging out with us. We got to let the remote go because we're going to continue here at the Black Factor. If you want to continue watching, you can turn on to YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, and we're still rolling. But we're going to bring in the Candyman next on Oh So Smooth Radio. So you radio people, y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening. All right, so back to the subject at hand, y'all, because we're going to go a little long tonight. Not long, but, you know, a little over an hour. There are people out here who actually marry others, who have gotten into relationships and marriages, not because of the traditional reasons, but because there was something in it for them. Fact is, there's something in something for everybody. It's just that people's priorities vary. People's priorities are sometimes so very different that one person's priority to get married might be, well, shit, she got $1 million. I need to marry her. And her priority might be like, well, I need some steady, or he's cute, or, he got a pocket full of money, whatever the case may be. And then wonder why things fall apart. The intentions were wrong to begin with. There are people who are in love with the idea of being in love. And the love that they have is sometimes very, very dysfunctional. I mean, think about it. 70% of black women who will never be married or who have married and divorced is, to me, a bit of a ridiculous number. And of course, we're on the black factor, so we're using black numbers. And that within itself speaks volumes about the ideologies that many of us have within our own communities. If you're around anyone, a friend, spouse, or foe, who doesn't have your back, and vice versa, and what purpose do they serve in your life? Entertainment? Don't you become the entertainment. Be a good person. Be the one. I know my Black Factor family. I got good people out there listening to me. Be the person that other people can turn to. I ain't say be no sucker. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misunderstand me, because I'm not laying down for nobody. Matter of fact, I'm getting better, y'all. I'm learning to say no. That's one of my fatal flaws. See, here's some of that transparency I was talking about. One of my problems is I have a problem saying no. But guess what? That's that's rapidly coming to a close. You got people around you, all of us do, who compare what they have and what they do to what you have and what you do. They're watching. You don't realize how closely people are watching you sometimes until they slip up and they say something or something happens, and then all of a sudden you realize, dog, I didn't realize you was watching me that close. It's an amazing thing. But this happens. They're watching you. They watch what you do. But you know what's really funny to me? The ones that's always claiming they got haters, these are usually the people nobody is watching, because they're not doing anything in the first place. But here's the thing. Nobody should be watching you anyway. How you going to let your food get cold because you looking at somebody else's steamy plate? Makes no sense. But this is what people do. People are watching because they see the path that you took and they didn't. Their life experiences are not your life experiences. No one can walk in your shoes. Fact is, everybody is not always wrong, just the same way everybody is not always right. But what bothers me are the people who refuse to be wrong at any cost. You have people who literally will get into an argument, get into a back and forth with you, and be dead ass wrong, all because they're operating out of their feelings. Be dead wrong. But they refuse to admit to it because their ego is so large that they just cannot say, I made a mistake. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like people like that. You can stay away from me. Real talk. Because one of the worst things that you can do as a person, and this goes, I got a bunch of worst things on this list, as you can probably tell. But one of the worst things that you can do as a person, and so many people are guilty of this. I used to be guilty of it because I used to do it all the time. I was one of them people, we can handle this like gentlemen, or we can get into some gangster shit. But let me tell you something. When you argue with a person that's wrong, when you argue with a person who argues just for the sake of arguing, I want you to first understand that you've given away all of your power. And I'm talking about the people right in your circle, sometimes family. But when you argue and go back and forth with people who are wrong, ignorant to the facts, all you're doing is fueling them. I want you to realize there are people who speak out of ignorance constantly, and they're looking for the fight because it makes them feel powerful and strong. I would like to believe that I have a certain level of intelligence. What would it look like for me to argue with someone who I know doesn't know what they're talking about? Val Wells said, power and time, because they are thieves and they're stealing my time and my energy. And I'm not going to allow that. Every time you allow someone to pull you, as we say in the street, off your square now see, ladies, I'm going to get on y'all about this because women tend to get into these little skirmishes sometimes with each other. You let another sister pull you off your square, you're empowering the other, the detractor, the hater, the one who wants the attention. Don't give attention to people who have not earned the attention. You want to argue with me? There's a black scholar, Dr. Henrik Clark, and his quote was, I don't argue with, doggone it, I don't argue with people who are beneath me, something like that. All others I teach. Or he doesn't debate with, I don't remember the exact quote. Y'all can look it up, Dr. Henrik Clark. In other words, if I know you don't know what you're talking about, I'm not going to waste my energy and time going back and forth with you. I'm not going to lower myself. I'm not going to make myself small so you can digest me. Choke. In other words, just remember to identify the lesser and leave them where you found them. And you'll be a happier person for that. Some people operate out of feelings. That annoys me. I don't care about your feelings. On this show, y'all already know, and I've said it multiple times, many, many times in the past, and I will continue to say it. Wait a minute. We got a glitch in the matrix here. I lost where I was, y'all. with the little, I don't know what happened there. But here's the bottom line. When you operate out of feelings, you're dealing with an emotional person. Emotional people tend to talk to you more about how they feel, which goes back to what I just said with the Maya Angelou quote. They're more interested in how they feel than facts or the truth. On this show, y'all have heard me say it. I will say it again. Don't believe nothing I say here. Don't believe anything I say. When I'm doing my shows and I'm giving y'all facts about history and we talking about the things that have gone on in society and the stories that I tell you. See, tonight is a special night because we are talking from feelings, but most of it is fact. But when we talk about facts, I always tell you, look it up for yourself. If I say something, you don't have to believe me, but what you can do, because the information is out here. We live in the information age. Look it up. It's out there. It's available to you. And you can actually dig even deeper. See, my job is to send you down that rabbit hole. When I sell these copies of this book, The Black Factor is an informational book. There's a lot of good stuff in here. But dig this. I also don't give you everything in this book. It's 200 pages or 192 pages of information designed to cause you to look further, not just stop with the words in this book. It's designed to make you say, really, I didn't know that happened. Let me look into that a little more. It's about planting seeds, y'all. It's about making you think, dig, and find out what it is that we need to know. Because there's a lot we need to know, y'all. We got to find out. For the most part, y'all, I want to say I appreciate you. The event that I was at this weekend, I was pleasantly surprised to run across a multitude of people who told me that they do appreciate my shows, this being The Black Factor and Inside Stepping, which I am happy to do because it is informational, and that's what I'm about. I'm about providing information to people. And I want you to also know that nothing was said to me fell on deaf ears. People told me that they love what we do. So I want to continue to do this and continue to provide information and be a conduit for that. with that said, y'all, I just want to show my love. Thank you so much. We will be popping up again somewhere else, mobile, and when we do, um, I want y'all to come out and hang with me. Speaking of which, on Sunday, for my local people, here Sunday we're gonna be at Chicago Bite, my girl spot over there, Crystal, hanging out, 2339 Evans Road, Suite 106, Chicago Bite, all the Chicago cuisine right here in San Antonio, off the chain, y'all. So anyway, here's the bottom line, y'all. Keep your friends close, but be aware that your enemies are closer. With that said, I want to say thank you for tuning in, y'all. I love you. Let's do this again next week. We got a date. We got a standing date, y'all. Everybody here, we got a standing date. So y'all be ready to go out on our next date on next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Don't forget, ladies, wear your best dress. I want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out with me. And man, that's all I got, y'all. Be careful of who you got around you. Keep your friends close, and watch your enemies that's closer. Everybody have a good night. Love, peace, and chicken grease, y'all.